You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm network. Here we go, this is Luca Zanna, you're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the hour, normally I talk about guns, and as I said, guns for me, it is not just something to show off or maybe just for hobby or for hunting. I do not even really hunt unless I am in survival mode. The Second Amendment, it's the most important right that not many other part of the world, almost nowhere else, honestly, I've been traveling around the world, has, okay? It's the most unique for me of all the rights that we have in America. It's pretty much the right that is the last line of defense against tyranny and freedom. That's the bottom line. So this is not something like for sporting purposes, like many politicians trying to tell us. I don't know, I have rifles to go hunt ducks or doves. All my rifles, they are military-grade rifles. And the only reason why I really have them is because I want to be ready in case one day tyranny, that we already have, by the way, now we have soft tyranny, but it's going to become pretty soon hardcore tyranny, knocking at your doors or pretty much start to try to grab people, put them in the in the trucks or in trains. Something already happened in the past in this country, so don't start to say, guys, oh, this is America, never gonna happen. All I have to tell you, World War II, under that bastard called FDR, we had thousands of Japanese Americans, also Italian Americans, also German Americans. They were pretty much in concentration camps for years. Okay, so already happened, and we must be sure it doesn't happen anymore. Now, today's in the second hour of Love, Guns and Freedom, I have the honor to bring with me as my guest who I call a brother in freedom. I don't know this man really. I just met him for a few seconds. The day last year was April 2014, in the middle of the the Nevada desert, and there was this epical standoff during the Bundy Ranch. And that day, I met a man with another friend and several of them that I never really met before, but I felt a bond as a brotherhood. And the situation was very simple. Now we'll go more into details. I was there with many others in the canyon, standing up with my First Amendment to try to make a point, and try to exercise our First Amendment. And we wanted to give a little bit of help to the Bundys to get their cows back. And more important, to tell to the BLM, this is not right what you're doing. You're enforcing something that is completely tyrannical. Meanwhile, they were pointing rifles at us. And I said already, I am not for violence. I'm a peaceful man. And at the same time, I also decided that I am not going to be a victim, not just of regular scumbags, but also any type of tyrannical government victim. But that day I was unarmed because I wanted to be part of the media. I was there with my video cameras, and I did a video of that. And I didn't want to give any opportunity to these pirates, these contractors, whatever they were, drawing guns, loaded guns on American people. I didn't want to give excuses to shoot us. And we were very close that day. But one thing I knew, I felt good about it. If these bastards that were starting to shoot at any of us, they were behind us, American people ready to risk their lives and also their everything. Because they're talking about this is serious stuff. This is not a movie. It looked like a movie, but it was real. So best case scenario, you can go to, in some Guantanamo at least right now with the National Defense Authorization Act. So this was one of my brothers that I'm so happy that I found him again on Facebook. And here we are. This is for me the most powerful thing, to find each other and now finally sharing this story. His name is Eric J. Parker. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, man. Maybe I did it a little too boring and too long, but I hope people got the idea to understand what went.
There's a lot to say. So
yes,
a lot to say.
Now, speaking about, telling me a little bit about you. I met you for a few minutes there. We were after this almost magical event, dramatic event, but hopefully, we were happy. Everything went smooth. Nobody got hurt. And, the Bundys got their cows back and everybody was fine. But tell me a little bit, first of all, you as an American, where are you from? You don't need to get too many details, but tell us a little bit who you are. You're a working man, you got family. Who are you?
Yeah, like you said, my name's Eric, and I live in Idaho. I'm an electrician. I got 2 kids. I'm married. Have a mortgage. I'm just a regular guy.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find out about this Bundy situation? I mean, from Idaho to Nevada is kind of a drive. I mean, how did you find out that? Because you drove all the way down. I mean,
so we saw the video online of Clive and son being tased, and then trying to see what was in them dump trucks. And I'll be honest, I got mad. I lived in Nevada for a while when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the title of the video was, something about a riot in Nevada. So I clicked on it and I watched it, and I was appalled. I got pissed off. And so we started paying attention at that point. And, as it proceeded, and I did some research looking into it, and I realized how wrong it was, what was going on, how it didn't set well with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we were going to go.
How many hours? How many hours driving from where you live to the place of the Bundy Ranch?
Like 11 or 12.
Okay, it's a nice day drive.
Yeah, it was a good drive. I called a couple of my buddies and said, "Hey, I'm going," and two of them were willing to come with me, and were excited to come with me. They felt the same way I did. As we were getting ready, we saw the I don't know who he was. It was a legislator, I guess, or something. Say the people coming to support Clive and Bundy better bring funeral money and body bags or something like that.
Wow!
And
all I know
it was on TV, and there was this video of this guy, and he's standing there and he's saying,
wow.
Anybody coming to support Clive and Bundy, with their First Amendment, better be prepared to die.
Yeah, Senator Reid. Senator Reid said that we were domestic terrorists. That was one of the people that pretty much tried to make us look bad. We were domestic terrorists right there. I don't know about the body bags, but he was a scumbag for sure, calling us domestic terrorists. I remember that.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't Harry Reid. It was some other legislator. He was from that area.
Okay,
people can go look it up. They'll find it.
No problem. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Go ahead.
But at that time, we decided it got more serious, and we took it more serious. So we jumped in my truck and drove down there. Got there Friday night. Made camp and got up on Saturday, and that's when the day happened.
Yeah, and
we weren't there for very long.
Before I go ahead, one thing I want to ask you, because you mentioned before, you got family, you got a wife, you got 2 children to take care. I mean, I'm sure you talked to your wife, and what she said, because it's more than human to say, husband, maybe you shouldn't do that. I mean, we got 2 kids to take care, and mortgage, and what something happens to you. How did she get along with this? What was the interaction?
Well, I should start by saying, she understands why I needed to go, and she probably understands that there wasn't much stopping us from going. She had no idea that Routers was going to drop down and take a picture of my face, just like I did. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen either, that whole situation.
Yes, and let me explain to the listeners, because maybe somebody's new and say, what is going on, the router, the picture, what are you talking about? Okay, let me tell you, the April the 12th, 2014, there was this historical standoff that thankfully ended up peacefully. Nobody got hurt, but American citizens, they were pretty much facing the barrels of armed BLM, contractors, whatever. We were pretty much ready to be shot, okay? Point blank. Behind us, there were American citizens that pretty much the statement was this: if you shoot them, we will not let it happen. And that's something, the most powerful thing, because, that for me was exactly the proof what the Second Amendment is about. It's not about duck hunting. It's about defending freedom against tyranny. And I really believe in the deepness of my heart that the day things didn't get sour, nobody got slapped around, nobody got tased, nobody got shot, because people like you behind, they were making a statement that we are here and we're not going to let this happen. Nowhere else in the world that would have never happened with our Second Amendment that we have here. So that's exactly what happened. You were behind us on top of the highway, and somebody snapped a beautiful shot of you. By the way, it looks pretty cool, I must tell you. That's something your sons, they're going to be very proud of you, I think. And you're going to talk about this forever. But the point is, your photos was everywhere, correct?
Right.
So that's now, listeners, you know what's going on. And I will post that photo also on lovegunsfreedom.com because I want you to see exactly what's going on. Now, what happened after that photo was published on everywhere, pretty much? Did you get phone calls or visit from agents or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea. I want to ask you, what happened?
So, well, the standoff happened, and thank God nobody got hurt. And we got back to the camp, and we realized what had happened, and really started to process it, and decided to get out of there and live to fight another day. We went home, drove home, and by the time we got to, I don't know, probably Ely, the Facebook pictures started, and I had told the router's lady who I was prior to the whole thing happening. She was interviewing everybody up there on the bridge. Yeah. And so they had my name already, so there it was, the picture and the name. And, friend request started on Facebook, and Facebook memes started popping up, and it was all just kind of overwhelming, really. But really, when I got home, that's when I saw it. My wife was pretty shocked. It was all over the news.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but this is almost like a movie, like a tragic comedy, okay? And don't get me wrong, this is amazing. The fact that I don't know. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of you, and everybody out there was there. And so ended up that. Did you get any visit from the man in black with a black?
No, never once.
Okay, excellent.
The way I see it, once the media said the FBI was involved, I really kind of started living down the rabbit hole. Every squeak and crack at night, I thought it was them coming through the door, and I wasn't letting my kids sleep in the living room because I was afraid they were going to flashbang my living room.
I don't blame you. I want to say something to the people out there because I had some interactions coming back from the standoff. By the way, we need to remember this date. For me, it's an historical day in American history. Was April the 12th, 2014. Correct? So that was the day, and it was Saturday. And this is something that I think we should put, as we were talking before, like the Battle of Athens. I know that you mentioned that, when we met for the few minutes that we were interacting, I was so excited, and I came out with this part of history that, unfortunately, the propaganda and the government doesn't want us to remember. The Battle of Athens, Tennessee, not Athens, Greece. Go check it out, people. I don't have time now for this, but it's so important to remember that type of historical event, how the Second Amendment, was used to try to stop tyranny at local level in Athens, Tennessee. And so the same way here, even bigger, in my opinion, in this standoff at the Bundy Ranch. So the April the 12th, we must remember, in my opinion, this day is very important. But what I want to try to say is, for all the critics out there, all these government bootlickers, they say, how dare you point a rifle to government agents. I would like to say, how dare you, government, pointing loaded weapons at law-abiding American citizens unarmed on top. They cannot even put National Guard with ammunition on the southern borders because the administration and the government is so corrupted that they must send our National Guards as puppets, just a showcase, without even a real ammo in their AR-15 or M16, whatever they have. But they can load up loaded rifles and point it at mom and pop there in the middle of the Nevada desert. That's what is so disgusting. I'm not disgusted with the people pointing rifles at us because that's already a done deal. I'm disgusted with all these brainwashed zombies out there that they try to justify that. Okay? And meanwhile, we had few good men and women too behind us that were risking their life, their families, and everything else they had. And it's not just their lives, it's also the physical life because, you can go to jail for the rest of your life and worse than dying. And meanwhile, you try to, I'd rather die, at least it's quick. then your family has to go through all the dramas and lawyers and stuff. So these people put everything like our founding fathers on the table. The bottom line was we didn't point rifles at them first. They did it to us first. You know very well, not only they tased the few days before unarmed people because they were trying to corral them in this this sort of a free
speech zone.
Yeah, free speech zone. Sorry, when I get excited, my English starts to get really bad. But my point is, they also tased them, and then they were pointing rifles from the hill. They were snipers, like they were training to go to Afghanistan on unarmed farmers. That's the sickening thing. So no, they started to play rough. They started to play dirty. All we did, we were saying, you know what? This is a message. Don't do that. Because this is not India. We're not going to be like a bunch of Indians from Gandhi, okay? As much Gandhi, say, peaceful. We are peaceful, but don't start to mess with us. Anyway, so that's the point. That's why I want to say that. Everybody.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to say too,
Go ahead. Say something, please.
At that point and at that time, when they said over the loudspeaker, we've been authorized to use lethal force.
Yes.
If you take another step.
Yes.
At that time, I did not think I was looking at any kind of law enforcement. There was no telling me that they weren't contractors, somebody hired.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, if this situation should ever arise again, that was an issue. The issue was they're down there with their perceived authority, yelling through a bullhorn that they've got the authority to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And how do we know they're federal agents? How do we know that? Where did they get their authority from?
At least at this point, for me, I don't care if it's the Pope. I don't care if it's whatever you think it is. You try to shoot innocent people unarmed, we got a problem here. I don't care if you got dressed up.
I can either defend my life or I can't. I live in a country where I can defend my life from anybody.
Exactly. I mean,
doesn't matter.
No, I'm not saying me and you, but unfortunately, the masses, they're kind of brainwashed. They think, oh, you got a uniform, you got a badge, so bend over and take it. No. I mean, somebody's trying to harm an innocent person. We're talking about average people there. We are there exercising our First Amendment, and that's what it's about. Nobody was pointing a rifle at them. We were just there. That's the point. And you cannot do that. If we were, I have nothing against Mexicans, but the point is the politically correctness is true. And by the way, I'm an immigrant, okay? The only thing that I didn't jump the fence, I came with a visa, with an airplane. But the point is, they try to do that crap at the southern border. Like now, for example, there is this big mass invasion, 1,000 a time. They can't even point a loaded rifle. They can just tase them, okay? If somebody shoot an illegal alien carrying drugs, the border patrol spent 5 years in jail. But try to attract them.
They've all been ordered to stand down.
Yeah.
It's an atrocity.
Yeah, and now look at these Americans. I mean, come on, even if you don't agree with us or whatever, look at the situation here. It's all upside down, okay? They were pointing loaded rifles at American people unarmed just because they were there to exercise our First Amendment. Now, more about you, Tell me, you came back home, pretty much, you spent a few months probably freaking out a little bit, and maybe your wife got a little mad at you, I don't know, and please, I understand about that, even if she was, but then you were back to normal life, correct? I mean, so far, your friends, everything's cool there in Idaho, and...
yeah, everything was all right, I went back to work, I would come home at night, though, and it would be, Bill Maher, or MSNBC, or a friend would send me a link online, Alex Jones talking, or somebody,
Yes.
and it really it blew me away that on all sides of the spectrum, nobody could say, "Hey, they pointed weapons at those people, and they were said they had authorization to kill them."
Exactly.
You never heard that once.
Exactly.
Maybe on Alex Jones once, but when Alex, saw the picture of me, he said, "Well, that might be a little too far. Maybe he's an antagonist."
No. And Alex wasn't there. Even he sent his a journalist that was really good with the interview and the reportage. But the point is, they started to point the rifles at us immediately.
Right.
Okay?
You never saw that on Bill Maher when they were talking about arresting all the right-wing extremists.
At the beginning, this sort of a canyon, they started with few people there, and they felt pretty strong, these bastards. That, by the way, I agree with you. I don't think even they are BLM. They look to me more, especially the spokesperson, it looks like out of Black Waters for me, the way he dressed, the way his beard. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong,
Right.
but it doesn't look like a regular federal agent, okay? But regardless, I don't care what it is at this point. For me, it's a person who is following unconstitutional orders, and they're evil orders, okay? So the point is, they started to feel very strong at the beginning. They thought they could put some fear into us because they saw maybe just few of us, and they say, you know what, we're going to show him who's boss. Then when they saw that the group started to get bigger, they said, wow, maybe things are changing. But then the worst part, they started to realize that the group not only was getting bigger, and they was slowly pushing forward. Even we had loaded guns. Let me tell you, I'm a regular guy, okay? And I never had a pointed rifle about 60 yards for me, more than one rifle pointed at me, okay? That's pretty much, and I even didn't think that day. I didn't care. Think about it. I was even born here. And that for me was the most powerful thing. I'm not born here, and I don't give a damn about your rifle. Kill me if you want. And when I said, you see around, there were under 200 people. They were born here, and they say, you know what? We are really tired of you. You want to shoot us? Go ahead. They started to freak out. They started to understand that it was not going to be a regular day to bust us around. But more important, then they saw, even if there are few of us, they saw this is different. And I tell you, I really believe you made a difference, and people like you made a difference today to keep this peaceful. Because otherwise, maybe could have happened something different. You know, at least get shot with some paintballs. Let's start with that, you know. So what do you think about the fear that maybe somebody behind us, on our side, could have done by accident or even maybe by false flag? I mean, think about it. They want to create a drama that happened in the past.
No doubt.
I was very fearful about that, honestly, to have somebody infiltrating our side, even just shoot a firecracker, just make a noise.
I was going to say just now, a backfire on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and like I said, I got there on Friday, so I didn't have any dealings with anything that was going on before. So I don't really know the specifics on everything that was going on out in that desert, but I know that on the bridge, and it wasn't just me. I had true, real Americans like you right there next to me. You were doing your shooting with a camera. That was just as important. I feel that probably is what kept us all out of, Guantanamo Bay, like you said.
You're right. Guantanamo was waiting.
The First Amendment and the Second Amendment hand in hand. We showed what can be done that day.
No.
But I think, we were all being very careful, I guess is what I'm saying. 'Cause we were all very aware. They threatened to shoot gas into the crowd first. And I made sure to, voice out loud, hey, if they shoot tear gas canisters into this crowd, you can't return fire on them. It's non-lethal force.
Yeah.
And, we're not going to be in the wrong today.
Yeah, no, I want to credit every one of you guys. You were there, even people that maybe I never will meet in my life. But you being super cool. Not only being there with the courage to be there and taking the risk, but also understanding when it's time and when it's not the time. And because sometimes people get very excited, and it's easy, especially for people that they don't do this for a living, okay? I mean, we are regular guys. You're an electrician, I am a songwriter. I mean, we're regular people just working. So we don't do this every day. And to keep it cool and to understand the situation and to act accordingly, I think it was amazing because we were many of us. All we needed one mistake and that would have been very much a disaster, So I want to say this is, I don't know, it's like a miracle in many ways. Now, what do you think about, are you familiar with the National Defense Authorization Act?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, now, according to this law, they want to, for me, it's a constitutional law, but in their book, it's a law. Any one of us, Americans, doesn't matter with accent or without accent, even people that you think you're born here, that probably, you think, hey, I'm more American than you, that's fine. The point is, even you guys, you were born here, guess what? Just because you may be suspected, not even found guilty, just suspected to be a terrorist, just because some government bureaucrat doesn't like your face, or maybe because there is a glitch on the computer, you can be kidnapped and indefinitely detained without due process, indefinitely. Not even in China they do this. They, at least in China, they arrest you, they give you a phony trial, and then they shoot you in the back in the middle of a square. Okay, at least they know where your body is, your family, okay? Instead, this is the new America we're living. That's why it's so important to understand this is not a game. Every one of us now, just because we want to stand up, and we can become a target. So that's, even this show, even be here on this show, I want to thank you, by the way, because I would have understood if you say, look, you know what, as much as I like, but I don't want to be on the show. I got enough, heat on me. And I would respect for that and understand you. And for me to be back here 1 year later and bring this back up and share with our fellow Americans and even people from around the world, and maybe some evil ears, hope you can hear it well. We are not afraid of you, okay? And you try to do anything to any one of us. I don't care if I had to walk on my knees. I will go to Idaho and I'm going to find you where you are. That's all I'm saying. And I'm a regular Joe. I'm a regular guy, and I'm not even born here. And I know many other people that were born here, and they have probably more training than I do, and they're even more pissed off than I am. They're going to help you out too. That's my only message. Just I wanted to bring you back here. At this point, as Benjamin Franklin said, or we hang together, or we hang separately. And this is the time we're facing. What do you think about this statement? Is it true?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's time to stand up. That's the one thing I got out of everything that happened. Mm-hmm. I didn't plan on any of that to happen, but there I was, the pictures, everything else, and you have this supposed giant machine built up against us. The NSA, the NDAA, all these laws and organizations. When he said that, he being Harry Reid, when he said that everybody there was a domestic terrorist, mm-hmm. I called my lawyer back, mm-hmm. and I said, hey, so now am I on that list? And he said, well, yeah, you were probably on that list since the minute you walked off that bridge. And I said, well, how do you challenge that list? And he said, there's no way to challenge that list. Mm-hmm. I said, well, how do you know if you're on the list? And he said, there's no way to know if you're on the list. Mm-hmm. I said, so I can have one politician on TV say, hey, he's a domestic terrorist, and now I have to worry about being black-bagged, drug off, kidnapped for the rest of my life.
Yeah, without due process, without anything. This is the
without due process. Yeah, give me my day in court. I'll explain myself over and over. But,
And the list is secret.
You can't just drag Americans off like that, and that's what they've claimed to have the authority to do.
This list is secret. You don't find out till you try to test it. For example, one of the Bundy's family, one of the sons, he went to I had him on my show. He went to the airport in Phoenix with his little daughter, and they treat him like Osama bin Laden, if not worse. Okay, I mean seriously. And they told him, you are on the list. And this guy is just the son of a farmer that was there with his father, tried to stand up with his rights, and he was tased, by the way, unarmed. And, that's the point, guys. And this is my point. That's why exactly I jump in my car. Even I didn't have to drive like you had to drive 12 hours. I drove my 4 hours or so, 5 hours. And when I saw unarmed women or regular people, just because they were asking questions in the middle of the desert and they didn't want to submit like a bunch of cattle, like cows, in this free speech zone. You know what? When there is a desert around, they tell you, oh, you got to be here to talk. Guess what? I don't care if it was about cows. I don't care if it was about Mormons. I don't care about whatever it was. For me, there was enough. There was an act of tyranny, and we needed to stick together. And I wanted to say something about to you, lady. I'm so proud of you, too, to stand behind you. And sometimes I understand, you can say, I had 2 kids. We had to take care of them. And that's exactly what you were doing. Because next time could happen to any one of you guys in Idaho. We have so many problems now with the EPA or the, BLM taking over people's property. And sometimes, we got to stick our neck a little bit out because whatever you did today for this family in Nevada is an example that we sent to Washington. That now we can help each other no matter where we live. Or at least we try to help each other no matter where we live. Because tomorrow could happen to you and your neighborhood. Don't you think that? Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We actually, so when I got back, I had Brandon Curtis of the 3% of Idaho reach out and get a hold of me. And he was just forming up his group, and he asked me to come in and help him build the group and build the state. And we did that for about a year.
we worked on logistics of our group and worked on our mission statement, our code of conduct, and going to local law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And we've built a good group. We vet all of our members, and we, you know, we're active in the state. We're active for constitutional carry bill. You know, we're really trying to get active in the communities. And what happened was we got a phone call about the Sugar Pine Mine. Did you hear about that?
Yes, in Oregon, right?
So we got that phone call, and Oath Keepers were putting security on the mine, and they needed help. And we jumped in an RV with about 10 or 12 of us, and went over there and helped them out with that. And what we did was establish security around the mine until that miner could get his court date. And we started a process of vetting volunteers coming in, and very similar to the Bundy Ranch, volunteers from all over came out once we made that call out on social media. People put down what they were doing once again, and a lot of the same people that were on that bridge, I might add, decided that they were going to put down what they were doing as well and get over to Oregon. And what we did was run a professional operation. We put security on the mine. We had the Patriot Railroad bringing in donations. That was formed during the Bundy Ranch. That's a thing on social media there where people can donate from across the country and they'll get it to wherever it needs to be. We held the mine and the staging ground until he got a court date, and the judge ruled that the BLM didn't have the authority or the jurisdiction to do what they were trying to do to that man.
Wow.
And they had come up there and told him they were going to burn down his mine and take his equipment.
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's, you know, there's so much. You know, I heard, I was following, but I didn't know all these details about the burning down the mine and all this stuff. Did he get this information? I mean, this on video or on audio?
Yeah, there's a lot of videos you can see. You know, that was part of it, was getting the word out there, because, you know, we didn't have any media that was covering it.
Yeah.
In any professional manner.
Yeah.
There's videos out there though, and there's articles and everything now that it's over. You know, I'd like to touch on the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please. I'm one of his guests, by the way, since 2005. You know, 1 month before even I became a citizen. There is a nice profile on me. You can check it out if you want to laugh. But go ahead, please.
You know, the Southern Poverty Law Center, they seem to involve themselves wherever we are as a Patriot network, wherever we're operating. And they want to paint us as right-wing extremists, incessionists, resurrection, whatever the word is there. They are lying, and it really bothers me, because they've already, if you look into the Southern Poverty Law Center, the FBI stopped using them because somebody used their lies and their lists to start shooting people. And they went out and they killed people with that list.
Yes.
And you know, I'm more afraid of what they're causing than I am of the government coming in and black bagging me. You know, I'm more afraid that some wacko is going to read their lies and come try to hurt me or my kids.
You're right.
You know?
You're right.
And that's what, you know, that's the thing. That's the issue. They got involved again over at Sugar Pine Mine and tried to spin their narrative and everything else. And I think that's really an issue. It is, you know, the FBI stopped using them as a reference. That was good, but I think they need to be stopped. There needs to be put to them.
It is a terrible, unfortunately, some agencies, even law enforcement, they've been using them. It's scary. These are the most corrupted group. First of all, is an organization pretty much. They are millionaires. They're making multi-million lawsuit and making money for themselves. And more important, they spew fuel full of lies. They put a couple of, real racist or dangerous element, and then they start to mix and match and to put us look bad just by association because you're on the same page, on the same group list, okay? So it's amazing. But, at this point, all I'm saying, we got to do what we think is right. We know this is not exactly what it is, it's not easy. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. What I pray, though, that people from every state, we want to help each other, of course, but we have also families, responsibilities in our own community. And I hope people in Oregon, people in Nevada, people in Arizona, everybody needs to start to organize. This is the time we have to create emergency response team of law-abiding people. And when I say law-abiding people, means law that must be godly. That means even if you don't believe in God, you believe in justice. You believe in what is right. You don't believe in just following the orders of a tyrant. Okay, we have a Bill of Rights for that. So beside the religious aspect, even if you're an atheist, doesn't matter. We have a Bill of Rights. We are human beings. We all have rights. That's the bottom line. When the government starts to pretty much infringe on these basic human rights, we have the duty to start to stick for each other, and we should start to pretty much step up in our own communities. You're doing great, but for you, I think it's a lot also effort, leaving the job, leaving the hours behind, the money that you lose, family that is behind, and risking your life and everything. Something happens to you. It's time that you need to, I'm not saying what you have to do, but I hope more people in their own communities, like in Oregon, they didn't need to have 10 people coming from Idaho. They need people coming from Oregon. And of course, if we can, if you have extra time, that's fine. But I hope every community starts to prepare. Don't you think it's time really to use this time to organize us? Because we see what can happen, correct?
That's absolutely the time it is. It's time to organize. It's time to get into groups in your community, start neighborhood watches, start organizing political rallies, protests, all of these things that we have the right to do.
Exactly. And, keep it small, keep it family, keep it neighbors. We don't need tell me whatever you think, but I don't like when something starts to become advertised and become like, I want to know people that are in the group. They're like people that maybe I've been knowing before, family, friends, cousins, or even people that we've been maybe growing up together. Because when you start to put out something too big, especially if it is not grassroots, but there is a head, two things can happen. One, they can chop the head, and that's it. It's over. And more important, the head can be corrupted, and then you control the head, you control the rest of the body. So I always say small, keep it simple, and start to have a real practical plans. And we saw exactly the practical things that happen in at the Bundy Ranch, and things could have been done better for sure, but at least we had enough people to pull it together. Now, tell me a little bit about rifles. These hours, normally we talk a lot about tactical things or at least training things. This is, for me, the most important thing is the mindset. We're talking about, at this point in a lifetime, to decide when it's time to get a rifle and say, okay, I'm going to risk my life to defend innocent's life. And that's, for me, the most powerful thing about this lesson. But now a little bit more on the tactical or at least practical rifle part. What was the rifle you were using the day for your self-defense and defense of others?
It was a Siega 223.
Okay.
It's a Kalashnikov platform, board down for 223.
Okay.
Round.
And is that your main rifle that you train with? That's your main...
No, I brought that one because it was a desert. But, I didn't expect to be in that situation. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really the rifle for the situation.
Okay.
But... having said that, I did bring it because it's the desert and it's a Kalashnikov platform. It can get dirty.
Yeah, that's good.
No big deal.
Good. Normally, what do you use your basic rifle, your main rifle you train with?
AR-15.
Okay, AR-15 platform. Okay, good. And any place normally you like to train or anything you like to share with us about training with rifle?
Well, the basics. I had never owned an AR-15 before a year and a half ago, to be honest with you. I always hunted, and I had my shotguns and my rifles and my pistols, and I never had an AR. what we did was get into a small group. This was before the Bundy Ranch. This was just 4 or 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we had enough, sick and tired of complaining about it, seeing it, and we thought, well, we need to be proactive. And in that, we decided we would get together once a week, arm ourselves, become fluent with those weapons, prepare ourselves sustainability-wise, make sure we were working on our preps. You can't fight if you can't eat.
Exactly.
And these kind of things, we said we'd get together once a week and do that, and that's really where it started for us. We had been doing that for, a couple months before that day. Wow. In April. And when we came back, we joined in with a larger group, the 3% of Idaho, and really started on a larger scale, working on the whole state, zones, counties in the zone, working on that structure, working on those plans. Really the goal is to get neighbors, helping neighbors and working with neighbors.
That's great.
But with the ability to rise up and defend the whole.
Exactly. We're talking about defending. If somebody out there say, oh my God, this sounds like something rebellious, something so evil. Let me tell you something, guys. History is repeating itself, you believe it or not. And we're talking about scenarios. Scenario there could be many, different line in the sand. Everybody can pick their line in the sand. Let's start with the basic one. You have a house, you have a home, you have property, and tomorrow the EPA said, you know what, there is a jumping frog here. Guess what? You got to pack and go. You give you 2 weeks and you're out of here. And nobody pay attention. There is no media coverage. And if you don't move, they send you the SWAT team and you're gone. That's the number one scenario. Number 2 could be tomorrow. Guess what? You got kids and you don't want to get forced vaccinations. The government, they said that you must be vaccinated. So, nobody's going to touch anybody unless somebody wants to be touched, especially with the needles. And there's so many other scenarios. The guns is not just the only issue for me, at least, So, and maybe somebody tomorrow say, without any type of warrant, we're going to come into your home and pick you up and talk to you, and you disappear, like happened in Chile during Pinochet. There are so many things now we're living. And more important for all the people that say, nah, this is not happening here. I say again, go check it out. National Defense Authorization Act. I don't care if you're left, right, center, middle. I don't care. We are all in danger. This is the most important thing. We all should freak out. So that's my point. Now, do you go to any school, any type of training facility to train?
No. What we do as a group, what we try to do is find the right people for the right positions. One of those positions is training officer on the county level, on the zone level, and on the state level. And that person usually is NRA certified and been through all of these classes and everything and has that knowledge. Maybe he has combat training, maybe he doesn't, and then we offer classes to the general membership for free. These kind of classes that would cost, $250 to go take a combat pistol class.
Okay.
We're offering those classes out in the desert to our members.
Okay.
For free.
I have a surprise for you. For you and your friend, that I consider myself a brother, even I never really met him after this event. I think his name is Scott, right?
Yeah, Scott.
Okay, you and Scott, I'm going to give you a 4 days rifle class at Frontside, Nevada. It's a $2,000 class.
Oh, wow.
Both of you, it's a certificate. You can redeem anytime you want. After the show, I will send you the information. And you have 4 days rifle class at Frontside, Nevada. It's a great experience. Even this is just a basic rifle class. If you want to do the advanced classes, you need to first distinguish. But regardless, it's a lot of good information. Yeah. More important, a lot of training, a lot of good stuff. I just pray.
I would love to go do that.
Yeah. So I give you also a buddy because Scott is great. You were there with him, and even he's not on the show right now. I want to give this gift to both of you guys. So you got both 4 days rifle class at Frontside, Nevada, offered by myself. And if you go to the website frontside.com, you will see the 4 day basic class is $2,000 a la carte. Okay. So it's paid by me. Now, question, and of course, thanks to the show and the supporters of the show. So, guys, this show, as I remind you, I do not count on corporate sponsors, but I count on help. Every one of you, with just 99 cents, can go to my website, zanna.us, download any of my songs, and that's the way I can keep doing this show and also spread the wealth, as somebody at the White House would say. That's the way I like to spread the wealth. So you got 2 classes for me, and I just pray, though, I must tell you, Frontside does a background check because they have to do that, because they want to be sure that they don't teach important skills like this one to felons. And you're not a felon, by the way. You got there, you got a gun. But after this accident or this event, I would like to see, let me know, please, in case there is any type of strange things now, because it needs to go through a background. Let's see if they give you any hard time, and let me know, and then we will share it with the public in case that. I hope not, and I want to say no, but you never know. Now we live in a new America, without due process, they can just put you in a special magic list, But all I'm saying, you got 2 certificates for you and Scott, and I'll send you all the details later. Now, we almost pretty much here, I want to talk a little bit after this about ammo. Normally, I share things like different type of deals, rifles. But I thought today was the most important lesson here. Try to get pretty much understanding the true purpose of the Second Amendment. And this is exactly if we have even just 5% of the American population understand our rights and they're ready to stand up to pretty much defend these rights, that would be over. Tyranny would never really come to that close. So that's all I'm saying. I want to give you the floor. Anything you want to say?
Well, in the spirit of that, I have always been armed when I protest. They want to brainwash the public into thinking it's not okay and that it's some sort of taboo gesture. But I've always been armed when I protest, whether I was protesting the unconstitutional wars under Bush Jr. Or I was protesting the NDAA under Mr. Obama. I'm always armed. I've got a pistol on my hip, and there's one thing that's never happened to me before. I've never been pepper sprayed.
Exactly. It's true. And tell me about in Idaho. I like the state. I've never been there, but I learn a little bit. I think they got pretty good gun laws, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about basic gun laws in Idaho.
Well, we normally we're what they call a red state, and we have decent laws compared to other states in the republic. But having said that, we work closely with Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, which is an organization here, and he wrote a bill that he's been trying to get passed for about 3 years now, called House Bill 89, and it's constitutional carry. It says that we can carry a pistol if you're a law-abiding citizen and you own it legally, in whatever manner you see fit.
Like in Arizona, we have, yes. That's a great law.
Without a permit, without another tax.
Yes.
And we were really surprised that we couldn't get that passed here in Idaho.
Wow.
We weren't reinventing the wheel. Other states, and we just were blown away that we got so much resistance from our legislature, and they held it in committee until the session was over. We got out and we organized and got people out on overpasses and tried to make sure everybody knew about what was going on. And it turned out that the NRA had introduced another bill contradicting ours. And we found that interesting as well.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say, that it was interesting that we got no help from the NRA on our bill, and they introduced one that was contradicting.
I lost
their bill
with the NRA like 10 years ago. I was pretty much I already just paid part of my life membership, and I was even American yet. I was I just became an American. It was like a month after my citizenship. 2015. Excuse me, 2005. And what happened? I realized the NRA wasn't exactly what's supposed to be. I call it compromised, and I'm not surprised. That's why at this point doesn't make any difference. Red state, blue state, they're all in bed together. I mean, look at that in Washington, you know. So I quit supported the NRA immediately. I joined other organizations. You know, for example, in Arizona, I support the Arizona Citizen Defense League, was one of the most important organizations to push for this constitutional carry. And I hope the citizens of Idaho, and I call you citizens for a reason, because I really believe in the idea that every state is supposed to be sovereign, and you're a citizen of the state of Idaho, like I'm a citizen of the state of Arizona. But the point is, I hope you can get it, because that's your right, you know. And it's so beautiful to think we can be as law-abiding people with no felony. I'm talking people that not being criminally dangerous to others. We have that right that differentiates us from slaves. Because the point is, when the moment that you ask for a permit, that's no more a right, it's a privilege. I don't care how you slice it. And the fact that you have that right, you can have a gun, a rifle, whatever you want, and conceal it without any type of permit, for me, the most fulfilling thing as in my new American life. Something that anywhere else in the world I could do. And that would be so important. I believe in Idaho, people deserve that. I hope you're going to get it down soon. Listen, I have a song I want to dedicate to you before I let you go. It's called The Line in the Sand, and I want to send you some of my CDs because I really, and also with a certificate, and I want to be in touch with you, please. We're also Facebook friends. And I said, this is a message not to us, but it's to them. I'm a regular guy, and probably I'm going to be the most less dangerous person out there. I'm peaceful, and I don't know, I'm just a regular guy. But if a regular guy like me, that was even born here, and I have my fathers and grandfathers they didn't die for this country, I'm ready to die for any of you, my fellow Americans. I know that many other Americans are going to be even more irritated if something happens to any of you, Scott, Eric, or any other person out there who stood up for this republic and these rights that we have in our Constitution. That's all I want to say. It's a message. It's millions of us. The moment that you're going to put that type of sparkle into us, it's over. That's all I want to say. It's a message of love and peace, and hopefully we can keep it like that. Thank you, Eric. I have this song. It's called The Line in the Sand, and I dedicate it to you and all my fellow brothers and sisters in freedom.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. You don't go away, guys, because we have hour number 3, more news and more love and more guns.
If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude than the animated contest of freedom, go from us in peace. We ask not your counsels or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. The line in the sand, you know the time is coming. The line in the sand, are you going to watch while we're fighting? The line in the sand, just tell me now where you're going to stand. How much more you're gonna take it? How much more you're gonna fake it? Now you decide what you'll do when they come. They'll come for you.
You see things are getting rough. They're getting rough. Line in the sand. Now's our time to stand. Our freedom is gone and you bought it. Don't close your eyes and ignore it. Are you so blind? Can't you see? Seconds before midnight.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid.
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Luca Zanna
I'm not afraid.
and his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Luca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Okay guys, before we go to our number 3, don't forget, you can support the show pretty much just going to zanna.us, my website where you can download any of my songs. And also if you go to lovegunsfreedom.com, there is a section for all different type of gifts, like the Confederate gifts. Yes, you heard right. It is not just about the South, it's about also the North, it's about American heritage. Okay, so go to lovegunsfreedom.com. There are incredible little things that I pretty much created for you. And remember, whenever you purchase something through my sites, you will pretty much support the show and you will keep it free. ConfederateGifts.us, lovegunsfreedom.com, zanna.us, or just download any of my songs for just 99 cents. I appreciate it. This will keep the show free. No matter where I am, internet, radio station, this is pretty much what keeps this going. Thank you very much. And now ready for our number 3. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm network.